let's hit it. And welcome to Alzheimer Speaks Radio. I'm your host, Lori LeBay, and I'm so excited that you're joining us today. We are going to have a fascinating conversation as usual as we learn from people all around the world at all ages and stages of life. Stay tuned as we shift our dementia care from crisis to comfort. All right, here we go. What you think about, you will bring about. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Alzheimer Speaks Radio. I'm Lori LeBay, your host, and I'm thrilled you're here with us. If you liked our opening music, it's called Clarion Call by the Mark Arneson Band featuring Maya Dore, and you can download it on any of your favorite music platforms. For those of you that are new to our show, we're about sound news, not just sound bites. We like to have real conversations with everyone around the world at all ages and stages, big and small voices. That's how we make change. That's how we learn. That's how we lift one another. And so if you think you might be interested in being a guest, please reach out to me at Lori, Lori, at alzheimerspeaks.com. We have a great fan base here that has spread the word all around the world of what we're doing here. And so that is so much fun. So I always have to say thank you to our fans. And today we are live. So if you want to call in, you can do that by calling 323-870-4602. That's 323-870-4602. And today we are going to be talking about the brand new Dementia Map, which is a global resource directory for everything dementia. But before I introduce our guest today, I want to point out just a few of our past shows that we've had. We had Oakley Senior Living on, and they talked about memory care and disruption and COVID. We have had people on, Joe Brazil with his new book, Living with Thunder. He cared for his wife with early onset Alzheimer's disease while they still had teenagers home and how that affected his family. We had Chris Brinkler, the CEO of Mind Virtual Reality, Mind VR. And all of our shows are archived, and we've been doing this for, almost 10 years now, so there's lots to listen to in your spare time. On Thursday, we're going to be talking with two of my high school pals. Well, actually, they go back to elementary school that ended up falling into being caregivers for loved ones with dementia as well, and they're going to share their stories. I want to shout out to Artist Senior Living. They are doing a memory cafe the third Wednesday of each month at 1 o'clock Central Time. And also Arthur's Memory Cafe, which is the second and fourth Wednesday at 1 o'clock. And if you're interested in either of those, please reach out to me, and I would be glad to get you information on that. I also have to remind people that Coro Health, that's CORO Health.com, is allowing people to download their apps for Music First and Coro Faith free during COVID. So make sure that you take advantage of that. And also the Memory Cafe directory, where you can find memory cafes that are virtual right now so that they're safe. Just go to memorycafe.com. And then we're going to hear from the Footbar Walker. We'll be right back with our guests.
Introducing the life-changing Footbar Walker.
I'm Peggy from Danville, Kentucky, and I'm 91 years old. The Footbar Walker revolutionized my care of George. The saving that I made from having to put him in a nursing home came to about $192,000. The Footbar Walker opens and closes just like a standard walker. The only thing that is different is the top bar and the foot bar. Does that ever make a difference?
Does someone you love use a walker? Do they struggle to get up from a seated position? Are you a caregiver dealing with physical pain and stress as you help your patient? The Footbar Walker was designed to assist not only the patient, but also the caregiver. Patients have more control control standing up, and no lifting from the caregiver is required. See how it works at thefootbarwalker.com. That's thefootbarwalker.com. Peggy, would you recommend the Footbar Walker?
Do I ever? I would not be in the health that I'm in today at this age had it not been for the Footbar Walker.
Well, welcome back, everyone. Now is the time to introduce you to our guest, and I'm so excited. You may know Dave Wiederrich as the founder of the Memory Café Directory, which is the premier global directory of memory cafes, which he started back in 2016 when he founded the Memory Cafés directory. But you know, he also found that it was really difficult to find one in your own area, let alone a virtual cafe, once COVID hit. And so Dave has pulled these cafes together, and there are now over 900 listings in 5 different countries. Now, that's a background that some of you may or may not have known. I've known Dave for several years, even prior to the launch of the Memory Cafe, and now I have the honor of working with him on the development of Dementia Map, the Global Resource Directory. And today, Dave and I are going to explain to all of you why Dementia Map was launched, what it has to offer, whom it serves, and how you can find it and start tapping into it. So welcome, Dave. How are you today?
Hi, Lori. It's nice to be here. It seems a little odd since we communicate via email and text and phone nearly every day, and have our Zoom meeting once a week. So it's interesting to have a little different focus today. So nice to be here.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for being able to be part of this. This wasn't something that was really planned for us to do. I ended up having a cancellation. Someone was affected by COVID, and I called Dave and I said, "Hey, why don't we do this?" And so he is always kind of a go with the flow and jump in. Dave, I want to start with how Dementia Map became Dementia Map. Why don't you tell the story behind the name?
Well, the inspiration really started with you. I mean, you've had in the past a couple of ill-fated attempts, I guess, to really pursue the comprehensive directory. I know you had on your site in the past a fairly developed amount of information that was wonderful, but in some of the other attempts, you wanted to take it further, and just wasn't able to do that. And I watched that from a distance and saw that taking place. In the same vein of Memory Cafe Directory and bringing all of these disparate resources together in one place to make it easy for people to find the information. Just putting 2 and 2 together, that came. The vision came to me that you and I really need to do this based on our respective strengths. And lucky for me, when I brought the wacky idea to you, you were all in. So that was really the start of how this got going.
Yeah, well, it was interesting too when you called, because I was a little hesitant because I had gone down that path and things didn't work, and it was so important for me because I've had this vision for 36 years, which might sound kind of ridiculous that it hadn't come to fruition during that time. It did in various stages and stuff, but I didn't want to let go of that vision because I felt so cemented in it. And so I remember talking with you and saying, well, I need to tell you kind of my story and where I'm at and what I need this to be. And if you're, if that melds with your idea and your vision, I said, I'm all in. And it was amazing how smooth kind of this partnership has been and how it's developed. It's really been, from my aspect, really fun to be part of it, but watch what has happened in such a short period of time. I'd like you to tell our audience some of the key points that were important to you, when it came to the overall vision of Dementia Map.
Well, in part of the kind of the initial discussion that we had, there was a point that really kept ringing in my head, and that was when when caregivers look for resources, a lot of us go to Google first. And, if you search for dementia caregiving or dementia, you have millions and millions of results on Google. That's not a great way to start. You need to have a structured way to find information on the specific topics in which you are interested. You can't just do a vanilla global search, and so it had to be created in such a way that we would be able to serve up this information in a simple, straightforward way, so that it became easy for people to find. Beyond that, it was a matter of kind of combining your experience certainly in the dementia space, and with my experience more so on communications, web design, those kinds of things. And you put those two together in a pot and stir it up, and you get some pretty good output.
Yeah, it's been amazing to see kind of how fast you've pulled the site together, because that's totally Dave's end. I just kind of watch in amazement as he's incorporated, multiple goals, and yet he's made the site really simple to maneuver. And some of the feedback that we have gotten from people who are very, very tech savvy and who are site developers have been so complimentary on your skill set and how you put this together. One of the things that I do want to mention to the audience that was really important to both Dave and I was we did not want people to have to register to get information. We wanted to take all of that away so that you could just mine information 24/7 whenever the time was right for you, or whenever you had the time to be able to look for information. And so you're not going to be asked for any personal information. There's not going to be any pop-up saying you want to chat with us and distractions, or even moving parts. A lot of sites, are big and flashy. I know from being a caregiver for my mom for 30 years how exhausting it can be at times. And when I'm on the computer, when I would find time to do research, it was limited. And so it was really important for me to be able to stay focused. And you did a really nice job with designing the site to be simple to follow and not distracting. And I personally, from a caregiver standpoint, a care partner standpoint, really, really appreciate that. And I think, we wanted it also to be easy for a person with dementia to be able to maneuver as well. Those were very high priorities for us. Also knowing that this site isn't just for families. This is for professionals, and people are really going to find that there's way more information that they don't know than they do know about this disease and the amount of resources. So let's take it and kind of break it down. There's really 4 end user pieces on the site: the resource directory, the calendar of events, the blog, and the guide. So let's start with the resource directory. Do you want to kind of try to summarize that? I know we weren't able to do a Zoom on this today, but just, describe it to people, and we'll go from there.
Sure. The starting with the resource directory, that is really the heart of the website. There's a lot more valuable information as well, but really starting with the directory is the place to be. A number of ways that people can find the resources that they're looking for. I mentioned the kind of a generic Google search. This does have a search capability, but of course it's a very targeted set of content related to what people are looking for. So it's an interesting way people can look. You start with a very basic search by entering any term and click the button, and any listing that has that term in its description will be found. So if there's something that has to do with a specific product or a certain area of support or advice on medication, whatever it is, you can search just for that term and it can find it. Beyond that, you have ways to really structure the search by looking through the categories. We have some high-level categories surrounding activity, education, housing, media, various products, the support services, and then we have a small area for business to business. Sometimes we have businesses that very specifically support the businesses that are in the dementia community. In addition to that, many of the resources are more geography-based. You might have a service or especially a service that provides those services in a certain geographic area. Companies are represented on a map. You can see the dots, and you can find through a search how many miles away from your zip code, for example, can you find a certain resource. So there's a number of ways to find the information you want. Those initial search results come back with a series of what we call cards. You just click on the card and you get the extended details that resource has published on themselves. And back to Lori's point about being a connector as far as getting the people seeking the information in touch with those providing the information without us getting in the middle. These resource listings have a direct link to a website. You can send a message to that particular product or service provider, and we just do our best to get out of the way. I mean, we've made that contact, and then we help you get in touch with the resource you need. So really, that's the essence of the directory, and there's many features that go along with what businesses can do to promote what they're offering to the dementia community.
Yeah, one of the things that was important to me was to be able to somehow level the playing field between the big and the small companies, because value isn't in how, and to me anyways, how big you are, how much money you make, or, what size budget you have. To me, that has nothing to do with the value of what you have to give people in need. And so I really wanted to be able to level that out. So by looking at the cards, you really can't tell who's who. And I think that is important. I also think that COVID has been a blessing, the timing with all of this, because people are now understanding too that you don't need everything to be in your own backyard or your own community to help you. We wouldn't have memory cafes. We wouldn't have dementia-friendly communities if we weren't connected overseas, because that was not a U.S. idea, neither of them. But they shared that. We got inspired by that. And, major change has come from that. And the same thing can happen for people. With me, I'm a consultant and a radio host and, trainer and speaker and stuff like that. I don't have to necessarily, be in somebody's city to be able to help them. And there's a lot of people like that out there. And you will be amazed at how many people out there can help you that aren't in your backyard. The other thing with doing the direct connect, I think is really important, because, we're even telling people when they list their links, make sure they're listing directly to what they're talking about. Because on a site, it could be like mine or companies much larger. We can send them to the home page, but then the person gets there and goes, well, now where do I go? We have to cut that time down and really truly get people to where they need to be, what information we're talking about, and being as descriptive as possible in their resource directory listing. It can be long, it can be short, but again, it's important to have your keywords that are in there. Let's talk a little bit. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to make a comment about your earlier remark about leveling the playing field, and the way I call that is valuable resources don't always come in big packages. They sometimes come in very small packages and are equally as valuable. So everybody can be a part of this, and everybody benefits from it.
Exactly. And people might be really surprised where some of that value ends up being. I'll give an example of even social media groups, Facebook groups. People, when they first started out, years ago, probably close to 10 years ago, people poo-pooed those as not real, not valuable. And yet a lot of people will say that's their most valuable connection because it's real people walking the path who understand what they're going through, who have real techniques and ideas of what's going on. And yet there are great professionals out there like Teepa Snow and her Positive Approach Group, which is huge, that is very resourceful. So you don't know. And we all learn a little bit different. We align differently depending on our moods, depending on, how much energy we have even. Could be our finances, could be our location, could be all kinds of things. And so we wanted a site that would be able to handle all that and give people a variety to choose with that.
You made a comment about some. You oftentimes don't know, especially maybe not even knowing where to start. And there's a phrase that you use all the time that I just love. It's you don't know what you don't know, and that is why the way we've designed the site in these categories I mentioned. There's over 160 of these categories already defined. And we find that we're adding new ones from time to time when we just really didn't have the specific category laid out as it should be. But the beauty of this is that, getting back to you don't know what you don't know, by browsing through all of these categories, you realize that there are considerable resources available in areas and flavors and styles that you may not even have thought about. And it's fun to really go through those categories and realize that there's just a wealth of information available.
Yeah. One of the things that I don't want to miss out on saying either is that one of the things I think that was important to both of us was to make sure that this wasn't just all professionals talking about dementia, but that we actually had voices of dementia, people diagnosed, family members, because everybody comes from a little different angle. We've got researchers and academics and people in the trenches. When you can pull all of that together, the picture changes for the better, I think. And it's incredible to hear the lessons of people who have lived it and the ideas that they have to make it better. So it's really. Go ahead.
I said that's such a strong point because, as you and I know, in spite of having so many categories, we were both amazed at how quickly many of those categories got covered. Now, there's not a lot of information there yet. We just launched on November 10th, but we're already getting a broad variety of topics with very few of those categories not having any listings at all. So we're getting serious coverage, and it ranges from authors of books to high-tech devices and everything in between. So we've got it going wide, and now we're starting to see it go deeper as well. And that's the beauty of having such a rich variety of resources available.
Which has been really fun in really only a month's time.
Kidding.
to see that happen. Let's go on. I want to make sure we cover the events calendar because this was a biggie for me. This was a real biggie for me to have included, and you were able to incorporate that into the site. So tell people about the events calendar, Dave.
Yeah, that is something that certainly pre-COVID, it looked a bit different with respect to how this could operate. Post-COVID, we're seeing the events that are shown on here as all virtual. There's no in-person yet, but with help with some vaccines that are on the way, we'll get back to in-person at some point. But the events calendar allows companies, individuals, anybody creating some sort of an event, from your podcast, for example, to anything that could be of interest to to the dementia community. And it allows people to gather information that is in addition to what the products and services are represented in the directory. An event is such a valuable way, and now it's online, but virtual events as well are valuable ways to gain information. And it doesn't have to be just reading a book. You can be engaged in this kind of an event. So the calendar is something that allows those who have events to share, list those on the calendar, and very simple to look at some upcoming dates, hover over that listing, get a little snapshot of what it's about, and if it looks to be of interest to you, just click on it and get the full details. In the same spirit of the directory, all the information is there. You can contact that group directly, get yourself enrolled and participate in this. We just get out of the way, but we do make the forum available, so these companies and organizations can share these events that are coming up, and the calendar is already being used heavily.
Yeah. Now, I always say it's anything from an ice cream social to a international conference, but I'm also encouraging people who have products who like, hey, I lost my customer base, I don't know how to connect, to start doing demos, and just put those in on the schedule, because, some people will be interested, big and small, on that. And even with our, the categories, we have we have a B2B connection, business to business, where people can connect to, and a lot of people have been utilizing that. But being able to say you're doing a demo as well is very helpful. Maybe it's a support group, maybe it's a webinar or a teleseminar. I mean, there's so many different ways, or a live streaming program, or a radio show. There's just tons of events. And the other thing that I think is really nice, what we incorporated is the first, right now it's 3, the most current 3 events also get sidebar exposure on the website as well. And then as soon as their event is over, it drops off and the next 3 show. So again, I think both you and I, we have large bases of followers. And I know for me with Alzheimer Speaks, I always developed it thinking this was bigger than me. It's not about me. And I've always wanted to share my audience. And, we've incorporated a nice way to be able to do that with our draw, because I think we're both very well respected in the space. And to be able to pull everyone together and to, people have been thrilled with the events calendar, because the cost of trying to attract the audience has always been very, very expensive. And a lot of local papers are, going under. Sending stuff in the mail doesn't always work. On social media, you have to be the latest and brightest shining star in front of somebody, because people are finding that people sign up, but they don't always show up. And so we wanted to make it easier for people to look and be able to evaluate what is out there, instead of just waiting for, a fly to scoot by and go, oh, that's something I might be interested in. And so it's going to be fun to watch that as that, develops and blooms more and more and more. But I know people have been very, very excited about this in terms from both sides. From an end user that's like, oh my gosh, this will make my life easier, to those that are promoting it going, oh, this is really going to help not only us and our budgets, but to expand our audience as well by this.
And it's such a different type of resource, the fact that it's information. Mostly it's information that's shared in these interactive kinds of events. And actually that kind of touches perfectly on the next section of the site, having to do with what we call the guides that are part of the blog. Do you want to maybe go into that next?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. I'll let you explain that.
Yeah, it just seemed to flow perfectly with the events being another way to obtain information, which is obviously a very valuable resource. You can go further with that and allow the subject matter experts, the people that know their area of whatever it is of the resources they're providing through Dementia Map, to have them share their perspectives very specifically on a certain topic. And these in effect, they're blog posts, but what we're doing to serve them up even more clearly and easier to find is through what we're calling guides. And in a sense, the guides is a page that will become a curated selection of all these blog posts. And currently, we have the categories set up similarly to the resource directory under activities, education, housing, media, products, support services. And this will allow people to come in and instead of looking for, or in addition to looking for something in the directory itself, this is more very specifically focused on a certain topic. To give you an idea, a couple of examples here, the Alzheimer's Research and Prevention Foundation just recently published one, How to Improve Your Immune System in the Time of COVID-19. Now, this is valuable for all of us, whether we're in the dementia community or not, but it's a very targeted topic, and we have that under education. Another one from the Dementia Together group, some tips on visiting loved ones in care communities. There's a specific way we can all stay safe, stay engaged, but still provide those visits. Now, currently with the COVID restrictions, many of these communities, of course, are restricting visits. But even so, there are ways when that opens up again to really improve and get the most out of those visits when we're able to do that. So the guides will act as, and I love the connection, guides to Dementia Map, as kind of helping along that journey because they are curated, organized, served up in certain categories to make it easy for people to just browse and say, this looks interesting and it might benefit me, so I'm just going to click through and read the article.
Yep. Well, we're still kind of formatting the guides portion versus the blog portion so that they look different, because I think people learn differently too, in terms of, how we take information in. And so,
for sure. And that's really the beauty of the blog is if someone was interested in just scrolling through all of the topics, then that becomes a great way to just browse through all topics. But if there's a very specific target in mind, I'm looking for something very specific on housing or education or what have you, then the guides gets them closer in a very quick way. So a couple of different ways to consume the information.
Which is great. And the other thing that I liked is on, kind of our main black bar up there, we have these 4 categories highlighted in blue. And then the white is really kind of more membership people who are even investigating, do they want to become a member? Do they have a resource they want to share up top? So you've made that really, really easy as well. And also on the sidebar is listed recent blog posts, and which I think is really helpful as well. Again, it's just another way to kind of get exposure. Let's get into kind of plans that we have to offer and why we have 3 different plan sets. If you want to go ahead and take off with that, that'd be great.
Sure. One of the first things that you and I talked about was the need to have a free plan, and this gets back to the earlier conversation about, valuable things often come in small packages, and not all companies have large budgets to use this in such a way to extend their brand and become visible to the dementia community. So it was important to have a free plan, and with that comes a wide range of capabilities, very good features with respect to visibility and identification of the business or service, the search, the geographic search that we talked about, all of those things. But for those companies that really want to have additional benefits, additional visibility, then we do offer 2 paid plans. And all this does is allow those companies who have the ability or the desire to go a little deeper they can touch different areas of the site's benefits as well. And what's nice about this is that we have your comment about level the playing field. The starter plan, as I said, is a free plan. We call that the why not plan. And if you think about it, if your business or service can be represented in a global directory like this, that people are very specifically looking for resources, and you can do so at no cost, why not? That's where that comes from. The next level is the Pro plan. We're very careful to make this affordable for those that want to take that next step. The Pro plan is $365 a year. For folks listening, I have to give Lori credit for this. We were starting to target around the $400 level based on the research that we were doing, and she said, "Why don't we just make it $365 and it'll be $1 a day?" So that is our $1 a day plan. And if you think about the visibility that comes with the Pro plan, you can get your advertising shown on the site along the sidebar. You have additional categories to be a part of, and just additional features to use on the site. And you can start to post your events on the event calendar with the first paid plan. The next one is the featured plan, yet more visibility, more capabilities, and that's at $800 a year. Still much less expensive than many of the other alternatives out there that work in this high pressure referral kind of mode. And we don't do that, and it just becomes a way for us to take a lot of cost out of the process by just simplifying the whole process. And right now, as we mentioned, we just launched through the end of January. We are offering a 50% discount for the first year of either of those two paid plans. We've got a launch 50 discount code that we're promoting, and everybody can take advantage of that through the end of January to get 50% off their first year.
Yeah. So, for the Pro plan, you're looking at under $200 for a whole year of advertising, $182.50. And for the featured plan, you're now down to $400. Now, what Dave didn't mention was the side banner ads, which you get with the Pro plan, but with the featured, you get the side banner ads, which there's a couple positions on each page for that. Plus, there is a header and a footer banner ad that if you're a featured plan member, you get positioned in the rotation of that. And I have to tell you, Dave, when I'm talking with people about that, they are so excited because most people can't afford that positioning on other sites. And they are so thrilled to be able to see their logo, their mission out in front of people in a rotation where big and small become equal. And that has been really, really fun for me to see and hear people, talk about that. They're just thrilled. They're just absolutely thrilled. And from an end user, it gives you the potential to click through on something that maybe you hadn't thought of before, but draws you in. Right. And that is, I think, so important. And we're already talking about where else can we place ads as the site grows, because we want to make sure that, that this shared experience truly is good for everybody. And
you're making a strong point about the visibility of these ads and certainly how cost effective they are for companies small and large. But one thing needs to be mentioned, and that was, very early on, when we were just starting to envision how this would be pulled together, the discussion of Google Ads on the site came up, and we both quickly decided that would be a little disingenuous, because our attempt was to get people connected to those businesses, those companies, products and services that specifically wanted to be here, wanted to be part of Dementia Map. And while Google Ads are fairly targeted, they're not perfect. and we wanted to be a little more respective of the fact that the companies that want to be here should have the visibility. So you won't see any Google ads on the site. It's all those companies that are part of the pro and featured plans. And you're right. Getting back to your you don't know what you don't know. If an ad for a company comes up that you had no idea could be valuable to you, one click and you are on their website.
Yep.
Again, we get out of the way and you go right to that resource, and it may be the best thing you did that day.
Yeah, well, and I'll use the foot bar walker as an example. That, people think a walker's a walker, and this one is very unique. And it helps both the person using the walker and the care partner from not getting injured, and having a more dignified ability to get around. And it's a beautiful, beautiful concept, and yet very few people know about it, because this was something that was designed by two friends for two friends who were struggling.
Mm-hmm.
And
you got to love the physics.
Yeah, and there are so many things out there like that will just amaze people. I mean, every time I do one of the tours, people go, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea. I can't wait to tell people about this." And so it's been really, really fun. One thing I did want to mention with the calendar of events was just to make sure that people know that for those paid members, there's an unlimited number of events you can put in. And so
right.
People are like, well, how many do I get? Do I get one and I have to keep rotating it out? And it's like, no, you can do 5 a week. You can do even more if you wanted, as long as they're valuable resources and they're tied to dementia and getting care for people. The goal is to help you get your business out there and to help people find you. Because there's frustration at both ends, guys. There's just frustration at both ends. And to try to do it in an economical fashion that is fair to everybody, and not skimp it off the top. You had mentioned that we've got the 50% discount off for the 2 paid memberships. The other thing I wanted to mention, though, too, was that for a free member, you're only able to pick one category. But what we suggest that you do is pick the category that fits you best, go through our list of categories, and for the ones that you wish you could afford to be in, jot that verbiage down and make sure it's in your description, guys. Use those keywords. There are tricks around all of this stuff, and we want to help you wherever you're at.
The search behind those terms.
Yep. And I think that is really, really important. Dave, we've covered a lot of information, and a lot of people were reaching out wanting a tour of the site. Why don't you tell them what we've done in order to help get that done in a easier fashion for all of us?
Yeah, this has become very popular, as you know. Lori does some guided tours on Zoom, and what we've done on the site is right at the very top of the right sidebar. There's a place where you can click through to register for what we call a live demo tour, and Lori does these nearly every day. I don't know how she does it, but she does. And what we have is just a very simple form. You can fill out your name and email and so forth. And then pick which day and time works best for you. And when you click the register button, it just automatically sends her an email, so she knows that you're looking at that particular day and time slot. And then she'll send you the Zoom information and just walk through the site and give you a little bit of a guided tour as to how it looks, how it works, just so you can get a sense of what it's all about. And this has been, I'm just glad Lori does it, because I couldn't do this every day. She's busier than anybody I know. But this is a great way to really get a good sample of the site, and it's become very popular, and I know you're very busy at it.
Yeah, well, one of the things I was getting so many people trying to do individual ones, and I thought, well, we can do groups. This isn't a problem, nothing's
Sure.
really confidential, that we're talking about. And I really wanted people to understand the site, why it was developed and how to maximize the use of it. And by just going to the site, you don't always pick that up. You think, well, it's a website. I click here, I do that. But it's so much more than what you think it is. And I hear that over and over again at every single tour I do. People are like, this is amazing. I mean, they're just like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. I can't wait to share this with people. And so, again, just being able to give people tips and tricks of how to leverage and utilize the site to best be visible with your product, service, tool, or knowledge base. And then same for, the end user, on how to work this and how to be able to mine information out of the site, I think is really important too. Dave, we've pulled together a couple of one sheets for people. Can you tell them like where they could access if they just wanted to access a plan that goes over plans and pricing, or just a one sheet with kind of the important links that they're going to want to check out?
Oh, sure. Yeah, probably the best place to really start, and it's certainly browsing around the site is always welcomed, and hopefully you'll find some valuable information. But I think a really good place to start is the plans and pricing page. This is under the Join Dementia Map drop-down menu. And the reason for that is it lists all of the benefits of the site, all of the features that are available in the different plans, but it's one place you can go to really see everything together and how they relate. Beyond that, there's some documents in that same area, the benefits of joining, your visibility, event promotion, and so forth that we've all talked about. So in that Join Dementia Map drop-down on the main menu, there's the list of categories is there, so you can really browse the 160 some odd that we have and get a sense of really what the flavor is of the content of the site. So that would be a really good place to spend some time and help yourself get oriented, and then just browse around the site. You might be amazed what you find.
Yeah. One of the things, too, that we've had a lot of people ask for, and we've got this up on the site now, is they wanted to share Dementia Map on their website, their social media and stuff. And so we have a link and a graphic that people can download either using code or just right-clicking and copying and pasting. And so I think that that's really important, too, that people are that excited that they want to share it. But one of the most important things, I think, when people share that they have to consider is don't just share the link. Share that you're a member. So you can link to, dementiamap.com. Anybody can do that. But let your audience know you're part of this. You're part of this global network trying to make a difference. And, if you're a member, then you link to your listing. And they'll be on the site. People will find the site. They're going to be in it, but it's going to say, wow, this is important enough that you are there. And to me, I think that is a huge thing, because so many times people feel disconnected or they don't feel part of a big network. And this is growing into a huge network, and it's just going to continue to grow over time is my belief. But I did want to mention that because I think that that's important too. It's kind of a badge of honor to be part of a global movement.
And I appreciate the comment about helping people get the most out of it. That hopefully has become apparent in this conversation, because we do a lot of work with individual members as they are joining and as they're coming on to really help them get the most out of it. You've already laid out several really good areas of advice, certainly linked to your own listing and not just the site itself. I have a call coming up later today helping someone who just joined that wants to put the banner, the logo, the badge on her site, but just couldn't quite get it right. So we have a Zoom call coming up this afternoon, and I'll help lead her through how to put that code on her site so she can display it. So we not only want to share the information, but we want to help those who are sharing the information get as much benefit out of it as possible. Because if we do, then those who are looking for that information are benefiting even further.
Yeah. So I hope that people see that this isn't an ego-driven thing by any stretch of the imagination. This is a project of greater good and in pulling us all together, because every single person's voice is important. And one thing I didn't share with you, I was on LinkedIn and a woman reached out to me and she's like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. She's a content writer. And she's like, I'm going to share this up and down. She's like, I will be reaching out for a formal interview, but in the meantime, she's like, do you have some quotes that I can use and some graphics? So I sent her a bunch of stuff, and she's like so excited about this. And again, we've had several interviews already through this process because people are excited. And, when that excitement, when that passion spreads, that's when things grow. That's when things really happen, and that's when the fun really begins.
Well, I'm excited to be a part of this, and I am very grateful for you to have agreed to my wacky idea when I brought it to you, and I couldn't have a better partner in this. So I very much looking forward to the future.
Me too. Anything that we've missed that we need to go over, Dave? I think we covered as much as we can without any visuals.
Yeah, it's like a game of charades, right? I would say let's encourage everyone to visit the site, take a look, see what they think. There's a contact button on the site, of course, but if someone has a question or wants to reach out for a further conversation, if they're confused on something, very simple, just email me, dave@dementiamap.com. And would welcome any feedback, of course, too. We always are looking for making the site better. So whether it's feedback or you just need some more information, dave@dementiamap.com.
Yeah. And again, the main site, of course, is dementiamap.com. And if you're interested in taking one of those live demo tours with me, just go to dementiamap.com/tours. You can also find that under the Join Dementia Map tab on the site as well. And don't forget to check out the Memory Cafe directory too. Dave has worked long and hard to help pull things together there. I just want to thank our listeners for, hanging in here with us and listening to this. I just think this is really important. Like I said, this has been a dream of mine for 36 years. And I think it's going to help not only a lot of families, but a lot of businesses as well. So thank you for reaching out to me, and I couldn't be prouder of the site. So again, everyone, please check out dementiamap.com, and we will be in touch soon. And hopefully we'll be hearing from a few of you. Take care. Bye now.
Hi, everyone. This is Meredith from the Senior Fitness with Meredith podcast, where I discuss all things for seniors, from fitness, your health and wellness journeys, how to be all over strong and beyond. I also have my mini podcast called Motivation with Meredith. It's a great, quick motivational pick-me-up for your days. Join me, listen now, search for Senior Fitness with Meredith on your favorite podcast platform.